Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Crazy Cool Me, aka Ursula. I'm back with another video to tell you how I keep my kids' skin healthy during the winter months. Stay tuned. I'm going to give you 3 quick tips of how I keep my children's skin healthy during the winter months. Please make sure you check out my previous video on how I keep my children's skin healthy during the summer months. Now, during the winter, we know it gets colder, but it also gets a lot drier. So the air gets a lot dry, and that can wreak havoc on the skin, especially if you have eczema. My children and myself have eczema, and during the winter, our skin gets exceptionally dry. So I have to make sure that I am keeping their skin moisturized and healthy during these months. So this may mean that I have to apply more moisture than I would during, let's say, the summer months or the spring months. We all know that the skin is the largest organ of our body. So with that being said, we have to make sure that we are keeping it healthy and we're maintaining the moisture because it's a barrier to the rest of our body. So we have to make sure we're keeping it in good shape. Now I'm going to give you the 3 tips that I use to keep their skin healthy and moisturized. Hopefully you can take these tips and even apply it to yourself or your children. Now, I'm not a medical doctor, I'm just a mom. So these tips are strictly for entertainment or educational purpose, but if you do have a skin condition or your children have a skin condition, please make sure you check with your doctor before starting any new regimen or products. So tip number 1, first I start with their diet. So many of the things that we consume really help or really affect our skin. So for my children, I make sure that they are eating healthy foods, green leafy vegetables. That is a struggle, but I really try to incorporate those in different ways. You put it in soups or smoothies if they won't just eat the vegetable outright. If they do, good. That is a good thing. But if they don't, try to incorporate it in different foods to where it's kind of hidden and they can enjoy it. Make sure they're getting the nutrients through their food that helps with their skin. So like I said, vegetables, fruits, not a lot of fruits, not a lot of sugar, because a lot of sugar can wreak havoc on the skin as well. So some fruits, not a lot. Nuts, nut butters, if your child isn't ready for nuts. One of my children is not ready for nuts, so we'll do nut butter, almond, peanut butter, also sunflower seed butter. Those are really good foods to incorporate in your diet for your skin. Making sure that they're not eating a lot of junk food, a lot of processed foods, a lot of refined sugars that you see in the candies and the donuts and the snacks, the prepared snacks. I don't give them a lot of those processed foods. Some things is hard to avoid, but making sure that the product or the foods have less of those processed ingredients, less of those dyes, like the red 40, the yellow 6, I want to say yellow 6 and yellow 4, all those different dyes and colors. I really try to find products without any of those in there because they too can break out your skin. And I've seen with my son, if he's eating a lot of those sugars, like a lollipop or some candy that he's given, or he tends to break out on his face. Also, drinking lots of water. Water, so important. We are mostly water, in our skin, it responds so well to being hydrated. So if we're keeping our body hydrated, our skin will also benefit from the hydration. Keeping my children hydrated, I usually don't give them any sodas. And like I said, I try to limit the juices without the dyes, the artificial dyes in them. I usually get the honest juice, the honest apple juice, or I get an apple or pear juice, and I'll just give them maybe 1/3 of juice and then the rest is water. Or I'll just give them water with a little bit of flavor that also does not have any of the dyes or anything in it. Tip number 2 are the products that I use. So if you've been a member of the channel, or if you're not a member of the channel, make sure you subscribe and click that like button. But I have several videos of all the products that I use. I usually stick to the same old because if it works, why change it? So if you check out those videos, you can see the products that I usually use for their bath time routine and also for their hair. Before I use the products on their skin, I usually make sure they're getting a bath first. So make sure you check out my bath time routine and you can see the products that I use and the steps that I go through to get them ready for the products that I use to help seal in that moisture. So I use the Eucerin. Right now I'm using the, you can call it adult version, adult lotion, but it's the one that doesn't say baby on it. I use that. Currently I use the thickest one they have, the thickest lotion, and it shows you on there how thick of the lotion that they have. I usually like the thick because it just helps seal in that moisture. But I use the Eucerin called Intense Repair. For the summers, I probably use a lighter lotion, maybe the Tubby Top, but definitely for the winter, I use a thicker lotion because that's going to help maintain the moisture for a longer period of time. So I use that, and then I just look, I just want them to be juicy, extra juicy, help to really protect that lipid barrier of the skin. So I use even more protection with the petroleum jelly. So I'll put the lotion on and I'll usually put a thin layer of the petroleum jelly just to make it extra sealed, extra juicy. You can skip that part if you want to because the Eucerin is it does protect very well. Like I said, it's really thick, so you can skip, but I do not skip it most of the time. Also, my son and I, we get really chapped lips. So not only are we talking about the body, the face and the body, hands, feet, all that, we're talking about the lips as well. So you want to make sure that you're keeping the lips moisturized as well because we're talking, we're eating, we're doing several things with our mouth, and we want to make sure we keep it moisturized. So with that, I use just regular chapstick, the chapstick brand. Find a brand that is good for you. I like the chapstick because to me it is healing. You can find a better, if you can find, you know, a better healing chapstick. I usually like the ones with all natural ingredients. But you can also use Aquaphor. You can use Aquaphor as well. It's healing. It's a healing ointment that you can use also for the lips. And you may not think of this last one, but sunscreen. Now, you may think wherever, you know, depending on where you live in the world, you may not need a lot of sunscreen or, you know, it just depends. But we're in the South, so we pretty much need sunscreen all year round. And it just depends on where you're going, how long you're going to be exposed to the sun, on the type of sunscreen that you're going to use. Now during the winter months, I would use maybe a light coated sunscreen. Survey has a really good sunscreen that is light moisture and it doesn't weigh down on the skin because, you know, we're already putting these products on there and you want to use something that's light as well. You don't want to put too much on there. Or you can use the mineral sunscreen that I've shown before. Okay, so the third and last tip is clothing. So clothing, also protection of the skin. Like I said, it's the winter time now. We're in the South, so it's kind of up and down. Some days it's a little close to spring. Some days it's a little close to fall, and some days it's really truly winter, but we just never know. So with that being said, you want to always make sure you're checking the weather when you're going outside or you're going to be outside for a while. when I take my kids to the park or I take them outside, I make sure I check the weather. And also you can check the UV, ultraviolet ray exposure of the day. They have that on the app as well. And you can see, according to the UV exposure, what if you want to apply sunscreen or just protect them with the clothing that they have on. So you can do either or. Starting with what the weather is like. Now that it's cold, I usually dress them in appropriate clothing, and it's either a jacket or a coat, hat always, and making sure their ears are covered. Either you want to put earmuffs on them, or you making sure they're covered with the hat, making sure if they need a wide brim hat to protect them from the sun, depending on where you're going to be, how long you're going to be there. We also have shading with their strollers or wagon. They have a wagon, so making sure you have shading if you're going to be exposed very long to the sun. Gloves or mittens, having sock, shoes, making sure you have the appropriate shoes on as well, depending on the adventure you're going to go on. But those are the things that I do to help protect my children's skin and maintain that moisture during these winter months. It can be rough on our skin, and we have to take care of it so that we will not regret that in the long run. And just a side note, because we're here in the South, it does get humid, usually in the summer, sometimes in the spring, but usually summer, spring is humid. However, sometimes, like I said, when the weather fluctuates, it can get humid as well. So inside or outside, you want to check the humidity to see how much moisture is already in the air. But inside, I specifically care because if our air is dry inside, then our skin can also dry out quicker. So what I purchased is a humidity reader, and I'll put a link to it below. I hope they still have it on Amazon. I got these long ago when I had my first child, so that was about 3 years ago. But it tells you not only the temperature, but the humidity in the room. So right now it's still in the green, so it's pretty good. But it can go down to, being drier or being more humid. So I check it and see how humid it is in the home, and then I get a humidifier and just to bring some moisture back into the environment so that the skin will not dry out. So I hope that these tips have been helpful to you, or at least entertaining. Please make sure you subscribe for more videos. Make sure you comment. This is just a community, so if you have any questions or comments or anything, just make sure you leave them below, and make sure you like this video and go and watch my other videos as well. Thank you again so much for watching. Talk to you guys later. Bye.